What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode and edition of Darc Side Podcast. I'm David Viano.
I'm Matt Elias.
Had to think about that for a second because we don't really know who we really are until...
Who does?
Exactly.
All right, this week we've got a big feature on the state of marijuana.
MJ.
In our state, in Pennsylvania, and other topics related to that.
Yeah.
Brought to you by our resident expert.
Hi.
Darc Side Dave. So what is going on with weed and marijuana as far as so it was decriminalized to have a small amount on you in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago, right? So it's not legal.
I don't know.
It's not officially legalized.
No, it's not officially legalized. And as far as the decriminalization thing goes, I don't even know if that was in all areas or just Allegheny County. Because I know in Allegheny County, I'm pretty sure that they passed the whole thing where it's like if you have under an ounce on you, it's not like an offense or anything. It's just like a ticket, basically.
Yeah, Wikipedia says cannabis in Pennsylvania is illegal for recreational use statewide, but possession of small amounts is decriminalized in several of the state's largest cities, Pittsburgh being included in that.
Right.
Medical use was legalized in 2016.
Yes.
Statewide.
Yes.
So, okay. Let's take it back.
Yeah.
State your qualifications.
My call in this whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well...
You're the weed guy on the show.
Yeah, I like...
State as much of your qualifications as you feel you're able to.
Okay, well, I keep up with this stuff a good bit. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm always on top of this stuff. I've been I didn't start smoking weed until I was 19 or so, but I dove head first into it.
Right.
I wasn't just smoking weed for fun. I would actually research a lot of the stuff. I had more knowledge back then than I probably do now because I don't research as much as I did back then, but I'm still up to knowledge on a lot of stuff.
This is as far as weed as a hobby and as an interest.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Then I got big into the studying of
You're good.
Okay. I got big into studying concentrates, marijuana concentrates. That was around 2014 because it was a new thing in the scene. It's been around for a good while, but it was the big dabbing became the big thing in that time. So I researched a lot on that, how it was made, the ways to make it. Dabbing is basically there's so many ways of doing it now. It's back then the big thing was BHO at the time, butane hash oil. It's basically extracting all of the certain cannabinoids and the crystals from the plant into basically just a pure extract.
So it's super weed.
Yeah, it's super weed.
It's if cocaine is, so the example.
Yeah.
Dabbing is crack if weed is cocaine.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Right, because it's manufactured into a more pure form. Okay.
There's certain different ways of doing it, the chemical ways, I just said, butane hash oil. That's one. These require a little bit more work simply because you have to get a lot of that butane out. You can only have certain parts per I forget the M. It's the way they measure it is ppm, parts per, I forget the M it is or whatever, but
milliliter?
That might be it. That honestly might be it. Hold on.
So
I'm going to look that up real quick just to be 100% sure because I don't want to throw false information.
So you can get
out.
different strengths or different concentrations is what is the
parts
point
per million. Parts per million.
Oh, parts per million.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to have a certain a very low. If you get your stuff tested, you have to have a very low parts per million for it to be passable. Because you
mean as far as being legal,
right? Yeah, because there's still trace amounts of butane in there, but it's not enough to where it's going to harm your body. Basically,
right.
It's serious. It's the same amount as when you light a cigarette, you're inhaling butane from your lighter. If you use an actual lighter, it's the same or less than that, basically.
Okay.
So it's not really harming your body.
So is this legal? Is dabbing legal?
Yeah, dabbing's. It's legal. It's not legal to make it. That's the whole gray area because back in the day, I don't know the whole laws of it now, but I know back in the day when I was studying it a good bit, it was basically you would get slapped with the same charge as having a meth lab basically
for
for
processing.
For processing like a drug. They were treating it just like that basically, because you had kids who didn't know what they were doing. Doing this, like doing butane hash oil inside of a house, which that's rule 1. If you're doing it in like an enclosed space, you have to have very well ventilated space, because butane just goes down to the floor. Like that's what a lot of the things that a lot of people don't know is like butane, like it goes in like a lower velocity. Yeah. So the other thing, you cannot have like anything electrical, nothing inside of a space like that if you were to do it, because one spark can just ignite a whole house, and that's happened before.
So this is illegal to make still, but not illegal.
If you have a certified lab that passes all of OSHA requirements,
in Pennsylvania?
Like all that thing, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because they're making it in Pennsylvania, so you have to have like a qualified lab for it to be.
So cannabinoids are not legal for recreational use in PA, as we just learned.
Right. Besides CBD, but I mean.
But so is it, if you get pulled over with dabs in your pocket, you going to jail or what?
If you don't have your medical card, and actually I don't know how that would work with concentrates. I don't know how that works with that whole thing. I don't know if they're still treating it differently a lot than pure weed or whatever. But yeah, there's also a few other ways of making those too. Rosin's the big one right now.
Okay.
Which is just literally like heat pressing either like ice water hash or something like that, buds or like keef and stuff, and breaking that down into more of like a liquid. It's just heat and pressure basically, and like it extracts like basically the oil out of said plant.
Yeah.
And you just you collect all that, and you can dab that as well too. That's been the one big thing. That and like good dry sift. That's been the one big thing that's like hit the scene really hard. It's just very expensive for certain ones, because it's like you get less yield doing it this way. So you have to drive the price up a little bit to make your money back.
So I heard that people with medical cards, you're still not allowed to smoke weed. Like you can't burn it. You have to vape it. Is that true? Because I heard that. I heard it.
That was what they were trying to do, but I mean, they sell flour like at the dispensary, so that you can't really. I mean, I'm sure they advertise more for vaping than they would like actual smoking and stuff. Because I mean, they're trying to do it like more 100% like legit medical side of it and everything. But yeah, the one thing was just like for vaping at the beginning. But I mean, they're selling flour just straight out of the dispensary, so that you can't really tell someone like what to do with that. So I don't think it matters really right there. You can still smoke it, I think, and like you can't really get in any other issues than that.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it hard to get a medical card?
From what I understand,
you just got to get a doctor to write it up, right?
Yeah, basically. There's certain places you can go for the evaluations. I know it's like a $250 thing.
Of course.
Then you get your medical card, basically. But anymore, I don't think it's that bad.
Is that to the state, or is that to...
It's the state, yeah. I don't know if you can use it in different states, because I know certain states, if you have a medical marijuana card, you're able to use it in dispensaries out of the state. So I don't know if you're carded in PA and you go up to like Boston or something like that, I don't know if you're able to use it up there or not. But
so basically, weed is half. It's like sort of legal and sort of not right now in Pennsylvania. We're like
federally, it's not.
Federally,
statewide, it's not either. Technically, it's just
not for recreational use. Medically, it is.
Yeah,
some states, obviously Colorado and Oregon, Washington,
California
now, a couple others. Well, a good bit. I think there's quite a few.
Yeah, there's I think they're in the double digits now for rec in certain places.
Right. So you can buy weed and you can smoke weed recreationally in those states, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
Although there's probably limits on how much you can have.
See, that's what I don't know, because I forget the whole thing, because when I was out in Colorado, it was like 5 years ago, and it was just when rec was becoming a thing, basically.
Yeah.
Now that it's like over 5 years deep into that whole thing. I don't know if there's like a certain thing, like a restriction, like, cause that would be my first question going into a dispensary. Just like tell me the cap that I can have on whatever, and I'm just gonna go crazy from there, basically.
Give me that much.
Yeah,
give me.
Because honestly, like if I go to a dispensary, like I literally would be like, okay, what's the biggest amount I can buy? Like what's like, cause I'm gonna want an ounce of bud like out of nowhere, then I'm gonna want at least probably 5 to 7 grams of hash. So I mean, like I don't know if that's a limit, like a too big of a limit that I can
tell
buy.
people what the difference is between hash and just weed. Like when people think of weed,
hash is like way stronger. It's a way stronger of a thing.
Right. Right. But what is it?
What do you mean?
Like what is it?
I kind of like said it already. Like
it's way stronger, but is it weed in a different form? Is it a
yeah,
different
my bad. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I didn't know what you meant by
sorry.
that. There's different consistencies. BHO tends to be more like shatter half the time. There's also like cake batter, which is more of like
you're like speaking a different language to me right now.
Shatter is kind of like more like a glass looking consistency, basically. Like it'll shatter.
This is hash.
Yeah, if you like,
is this is it the same plant? Like what is this?
Yeah, it's like the plant. So like whenever they're making this stuff, like say if it's BHO or like they're making it with like propane and stuff like that, it's basically they put pounds of this stuff into a tube. They'll run a closed loop system extractor, which, okay, you have your product here and you have your gas over here, and it's constantly just running it, like it's constantly running that gas through your buds, which is taking the trichomes and all the other cannabinoids out of it and leaving you with basically just a useless lawn trimmings, basically, is the easiest way to put it.
Right.
So basically you would just throw that out.
So all the good stuff's been sucked out.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people might like reuse it for certain things, like making low grade edibles or something like that, just keeping the flower. But most of the time, it's like disposed of properly and everything. And then you have the process after that is if you're making them with solvents, half the time you have to you have to purge it, which is usually a vac oven, which is like a vacuum chamber that's constantly under pressure, a lot of pressure basically, as well as heating it inside too.
Right. So this is just another product that's made from weed, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the big one. Like I said, like 5-7 years ago. Like I said, ice hash, like ice and water hash, is like kind of taken over, which is literally like you put, like I said, like a pound or so in like these certain bags, and there's like certain like washers that they like make now or everything, or you can use like a washing machine kind of to do this too, but usually they make specific ones for this. You fill it with ice, like with ice water basically, and you kind of like, it keeps going like and rotating, and there's certain like in these screens, like in the mesh bags and everything, there's different consistencies in each bag. It's like thicker, lighter, and all this shit. So eventually when you're washing this shit over time, you're getting like this goop in these bags that you eventually like shovel out and everything, and you have to dry that out properly and everything. And that's what like the like dry sift and water hash is. Okay. It's a better quality, but it's going to cost you more just simply because of the way it's made, and the yield that you get from it is lower, basically.
So I think this is interesting because you've got all this, just as like I said, like weed as a hobby, and you spent all this energy like just diving into it and learning all this stuff about it. Like,
yeah, because I did like for a while, like whenever I was like really into it, I did want to go out to either California or Colorado and grow and stuff like that, but I just never did it. What would you
have done? Go out and you're talking about to go learn how to do it? Or?
Yeah, basically just kind of like there was a lot of startups at the time. Like the market was like really like saturated with a lot of these companies and stuff, and it would just kind of like work from the bottom up, basically. Just be like, like a trimmer or something for certain people, or just like, like just a caretaker for the plants, and just eventually like, just keep learning the business and kind of just do it on my own.
Yeah.
Because so a lot of the...
Just because you're like passionate about it.
Yeah, because like I don't like the way that the weed scene is going nowadays with the rec side. I'm not a fan of it like whatsoever.
Why is that?
It's like this, like the old, like kind of like, I don't want to say like hippie belief, but like it kind of is at the same time. Like the big corporations are going after it, and it's going to ruin it basically. And we all knew that was going to happen, but it's just like, it just sucks seeing it. It sucks seeing it because like, you see these people involved with these companies. Like Corona invested like a few $1 billion into this one. I think it was Canopy
Corona,
Growth.
the beer company.
Yeah, they invested a shit ton of money into this one. I think it was Canopy Growth, like this legit marijuana company that's in the stock market and everything. Even and. You know, these companies, like alcohol companies, have been advocating and pushing money towards like keeping weed illegal because it hurts their business. But now they see this thing, and of course they're just going to throw X amounts of dollars. But like the big thing about that is they don't give a fuck about how it's made. That's what I don't like about it, because I like with like weed is like buying from people that like if I'm going to buy from like a grow op or everything, I would rather buy from like a mom and pop sort of thing that like the people have been doing it for like 30 years. Have like the perfect system down, like grow the best ones. Because literally, if you know shit about weed, those are the best grows ever. The people who've been doing it for 30 plus years have their shit down. Every plant that they have is perfect every single time. It's
I think
just, like,
people
those
understand that
go.
because it's the same thing as where you buy like your vegetables and stuff from. If you buy meat and vegetables from Walmart versus going like to the farmer's market.
You know? 100%.
It's not the same thing, right?
100%.
Like mass produced and versus like artisanal, you know. Same thing with I mean, I could see it going the same way as so you know, like breweries and stuff are booming right now, especially in Pennsylvania. So like if you've got somebody who's got this small little operation and they're brewing, you know, their own, maybe they have a couple different, you know, types of products that they're making. And it's like homemade, and they've spent, like you said, they've spent years figuring out, you know, how they're doing it, and that experience is valuable to people. So I could see that. I mean, you could still, you're still going to be able to find that because there's still going to be a market for it.
Exactly.
Because people are going to want to spend a couple extra dollars, just like they do with other products, instead of going to Walmart and just buying your whatever, you know, your vegetables and stuff from the giant store. You pay a little more and you support people that you feel like are worth supporting.
Exactly.
You know? It always feels better if you go and spend your money in a business like that rather than just throwing it into the, you know, into the machine. At Walmart or with Amazon or whatever. You have any interest in doing one of those? Sounds like you, like, what are you doing working in a steel mill?
Make more money than I would because going into the medical marijuana field in the beginning, because like I don't know.
You're right, in PA you can't, there's no recreational marijuana.
It's different. If it
was legal, would you consider changing like your career and start a business like that?
I would. You
wouldn't move to do it? I know you said you thought about going to California.
I thought about it. It's just like I'm already like, I don't really want to leave like here right now, like 100%. I would, but at the same time it's like I just have factors here that I don't really know, like necessarily it's like not the right time for me to do it, basically. But if they make it legal here, I would try to pursue something with it. Definitely. It's just, it has to be like, the medical shit is so hard right now. I feel like that you have to know people with a lot of money to even get in on anything right now. It's a very expensive thing. So like I would even have to have an investor to even talk to in the beginning. But the rec market, what they're trying to do is, because they're eventually want to introduce recreational marijuana into like Pennsylvania. And the one bill that they proposed when they were going to do it is really nice, and it attracted me simply because you're able to grow your own if you want to, like up to 12 plants at a time. It was either 6 or 12 plants at a time, basically. So that's a big advantage, because literally it's like, if they do end up passing that, that's way better, because I feel like that I would rather have it that way, because I would want to not be in trouble for having a small ass grow up in my house. That is basically all for personal use and stuff. Because I mean, in all honesty, like at the end of the day, 6 plants, if you get it well enough, you can maybe yield like a pound or over a pound per plant and stuff, but that's not going to be for a while. And even then, like, takes 90 days for a grow cycle most of the time. Like, you know, like 75 to 90 days most of the time, depending on the strains that you're planting and growing and shit, and how well you take care of them and how successful that they do like go up and everything. So it's like, you know, you always have to have a backlog. So it's not really a whole lot that you're keeping for yourself. Like, you know, maybe like you can get rid of like half of that, like, you know, like keep 3 pounds for yourself and give the other 3 to like people that you know or whatever. But it's still like, you got to make that 3 pounds last you for 3 months.
Yeah, but I was thinking more along the lines of, actually starting.
Well, no, yeah, I get what you mean too.
To
like,
do it as your
would,
job.
Yeah, I would rather do that too. But it's just like it's getting the knowledge down first to where like
right. So you would want to practice. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Like, learn how to do it.
Exactly.
I mean, is there really that much artistry that goes into it? I mean, I'm sure there could
Everyone's
be.
different with their shit, dude. But like the people who have it like on lock have like certain like everyone's different when it comes to growing their shit. Like everyone does like something a little bit different. But it's like everyone will tell you that like tender love and care is the biggest thing that those plants need. Basically, like they need like you need to actually have like a connection with them and stuff. It's a really weird thing for them to grow.
Come on, what?
I'm just saying, dude, it's like literally that's a thing. Like they can, it's a
Are you
weird
sure
thing.
It's not the improved level of attention physically that they get by having that connection and not the actual, like you care about the plant, so therefore you water it properly and take care of it correctly? Yeah.
But I mean, it's still like,
I mean, you could not give a shit about the plant and still do all of the same steps and you're going to end up with the same plant.
maybe.
I mean, maybe. Come on.
Some people have said like, it just
I don't believe that.
depends. I mean,
that's like what the plants are psychic. Like they know that.
No,
like,
they're
what
not
if you,
psychic, but it's
what
like
if you took this
playing music in the background. A lot of people do that, playing music at certain times
that just
of
sounds
the day
like,
and stuff.
That sounds like the stereotype.
Because they're still
like
living organisms.
Weed
though.
hippie. Yeah, but plants don't have brains. They can't hear music. They don't have ears. But like, okay. So imagine this. Take whoever you can imagine that has like the best, most loving, caring, most perfect technique to grow the best weed that you ever heard of.
Yeah.
Take them out of the equation. Put yourself in there. Now put me in there, okay, for the sake of the example.
Yeah.
I do everything exactly the same that they did.
Yeah.
Everything. The temperature, the light, the water, the fertilizing, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, all day long, it is exactly the same. Except I fucking hate that plant. I hate it.
Why?
I fucking hate this plant, and I swear at it, and I yell at it, and I insult its family every time I'm in there.
See,
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
that plant is going to turn out any different than it would with the hippie guy whose technique I'm using?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to try it out.
Do you really not know?
I really
Like,
don't know because
really-
I've never heard
so
of like because I feel like a lot of people, if you're growing weed for your job, you're not hating it. You're probably like loving that job.
Right,
more
but
than
my
anything.
question is, I'm just getting at the fact that like, it's not the actual love; it's the things that you're doing as a side effect of that.
Yeah, but there's all like I also said.
So you,
but, like,
did
there's
you
like
think
certain
that there
things.
in that scenario I just painted
Yeah,
the hate plant?
yeah.
Do you, in your honest opinion, do you think that there's any way that weed would turn out different than, like, than it would have otherwise? Any chance?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm just going off of like things that I've heard because I've personally never grown weed and shit, but I've heard from a lot of people who like have been with that business or like around that business and stuff is
Right.
like a little shit like that kind of like matters and stuff. I don't know if it's just in their head or whatever, but it's like
Like a superstition?
yeah,
That's what
basically.
I'm basically saying. I think it's a superstition, probably.
I don't know though.
I don't know anything about weed, obviously, but I think that's interesting. It's one of those things that like, it's like one of those like weed hippie stereotype things. Like you have to love the plant, like you have to talk nice to it until it looks pretty.
I mean, you don't have to do all that and stuff, but it's like it's more like putting positive vibes back into
See,
it. Basically,
vibes. The idea of vibes.
Yeah.
And energy.
Yeah.
And crystals.
I guess so.
And
not really crystals and everything like that.
anti-vaxxing.
Yeah, that too.
You see what I'm getting at? Like that kind of thinking is like, it's a little
But it also goes into a love for what you do, so it's like you kind of make the best out of it.
Yeah.
Like because, like I said,
I have no doubt that a guy who go ahead.
If your job is growing weed like every day, and that's the way you make your employment, like you're loving your life. Like it's the best job in the
unless
world,
you hate
probably.
it.
But see, if you're in
What
it,
if you, like
you're
I
in it
wouldn't
for
want to do that.
like you're not.
I don't want to garden for a living, me personally. So I would hate it.
See, I would love it just because like
You're passionate about it.
yeah, it is what it is. Like
I think you should
I
do
would
that.
hate like growing vegetables and anything like that. I would hate having a normal garden, but that shit would be like a whole different thing for me. Like,
I would love to see you start a business like that. And then
I could eventually.
And we'd have the podcast. And we'd finally have something to sell. The podcast. We'd have a product to sell. Like, listen to us.
Have our own strain.
Yeah. Darc Side. It's the weed that freaks you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a market out there for that. But
Darc Side edibles.
Yeah.
See the devil with them.
Yeah. We could like, you could see us, you can watch and listen to us scream and yell about the news.
Yeah.
While smoking our weed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You not so much probably. You don't even like weed, like when you
I don't.
Yeah, stuff, I don't. So it's like, I would be the one.
No, I'm not saying we smoke it. I'm saying the Darc Siders can have something to enjoy while they enjoy.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like us, like while we do the news and stuff. My bad.
No, that wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't even, like you're saying, like I've said it before, but even back, so like I'm in recovery, drug addiction. Even when I was using, I hated weed. I just never liked it, man. Like even the time, I'd say I smoke weed probably less than 20 times.
Okay.
In my whole drug using career, you know?
Damn.
I probably only bought it
like 20 times probably this week
today,
so far.
20 times on the way over here. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing against it. And, you know, obviously it's interesting and it's cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because I know you have this knowledge about the subject. I'm going to shed some light on it for people because I think a lot of people don't know all that much about it. We're in a state where it's still not really legal to even have it. So.
Yeah. A lot of people are ignorant to the fact about some stuff. And a lot of people who smoke weed every day are ignorant to some of the facts that go on
I'm sure
in this
that's
business
true.
like anymore. Like, I don't know. The biggest thing right now is like vape carts that are going around now that are not like good for you at all. They're causing a lot of problems and shit, but a lot of people don't know about that at the same time.
Right. Let's get into the illegal THC vape carts thing because I keep seeing this come up in my meme searches and whatnot, the stuff that we do for this show.
Yeah.
The stuff that we read. Yeah. So go ahead and frame that up for us.
The black market, love it or hate it, there are some bad things about it. One is you can easily, there are ways to easily make a quick dollar off of naive people in this industry. There always have been, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, but it's become a lot easier with the legalization of certain stuff and everything. With fake vapes, it's the biggest problem right now because there are companies like anyone can like buy the vape cartridges online, mass produced, because where do you think the people who are selling them legitimately get them? You can still get them online anywhere, no matter what. You can create your own packaging on Photoshop and send it to a company that makes the boxes for you. You just have to assemble them whenever they get in. They're just flat like boxes. Basically, you just fold them up and do whatever. They also sell certain companies things like in bulk online that are ripped off and everything. You can do that now. So people were taking like Dank Vapes is the biggest one, the biggest culprit that has come out. Them, Mario Karts and Exotic Karts, they've been the ones out of the past year that have gotten the most negative effect because of this. They're marketed as like these high quality vapes and everything. The packaging looks cool and everything. That's what gets people half the time, but they're really not. They're just made from stuff that you don't know what's getting. They're never tested. They're lying about the percentages and stuff. So half the time you don't know what you're smoking when you have those said carts. Like I said, danks have been the biggest problem around the East Coast recently. And it's either like, you can buy them at bulk for so cheap. That's why people do them. And then they sell them for like $60 to $80 per cartridge, which is fucking highway robbery and shit. And like, those are the people that deserve to have their ass beat for doing shit like that, because that's the biggest problem in the weed game right now are fake carts. Like literally there's a company called TKO. There was an article going around not too long ago that a counterfeit TKO thing that was going around on Instagram was bigger than the legit company.
Right.
So these people who are making these fakes, they're doing such a good job of it that these are becoming more like they're getting more notoriety than the actual legit lab tested ones that these companies are putting out.
Right.
So it's just people being ignorant to this fact. And that's why I like to tell people every time I see someone smoking a cartridge, like, you know, what brand is that? And then they'll tell me, like, you know, and if it's a shady brand or whatever, like I give them, like, I'll show them some stuff and like show them articles and like drop some knowledge on them to let them know, like, yeah, you're probably not smoking legit shit. Like they're probably cutting that with other different things.
Right.
And it's been
dangerous.
it's a big problem recently.
Now the thing is that so here's what I've been seeing, right? That fits into that, like what you're laying down the kind of underlying background causes of what's happening here, but people are afraid of dying and getting lung conditions and illnesses from vaping, like just vaping, not even THC, like
normal vaping,
just regular ass vaping. And I'm looking at a news story right now. Kansas resident dies from vaping related illness, the 6th death nationwide. Now this is kind of, it smells like health panic, vape panic stuff, right? So, and I keep seeing the meme, and that's kind of what I was getting at when I brought it up. Like, so what people are afraid of, it looks like, and what these stories are kind of suggesting is that, like, vaping, even like the normal vape, like nicotine vaping. Yeah. Oh no, it's dangerous. Yeah. It's causing death, like 6 deaths. But like really what's going on, and this is the meme, like what they don't want to say is that, or maybe they don't understand, like what people need to understand is that it's likely that those deaths and serious illnesses are caused by people using these counterfeit, like the black market shady style. But not like it's THC, like they're like shady THC cards, right? Instead of what they're trying to do is suggest that just normal ass vaping juice is gonna make you sick or die.
I'm not like cutting this, but hasn't that been a thing recently? Even like just with normal vaping, there's been some health concerns about it recently.
Yeah, I think there has, but it's the same deal. I think it's like getting stuff from shady sources that just you're ordering on the internet. You don't really know what you're getting.
Yeah, and this is the big thing too. It's like, dude, this stuff is so new still. Yeah. Like vaping just became a big thing in the past 10 years, right? We don't know. It hadn't been around long enough to know the real health hazards that are going into this. True. Now that it's been around and people have been using it for so long, we're starting to find out these health risks. And it could be the same thing with BHO and those certain concentrates that are made with like those chemicals and stuff. It hasn't been around long enough and done enough where people like have been around it long enough to know the bad health effects of it, because there could be some that we don't really know about yet that are still like being studied and stuff. That's 100% thing, and that's what people in the dabbing community kind of have been joking about, like, we're kind of the guinea pigs of this whole industry for right now, and it's 100% true. We legitimately are. We don't know the health hazards that it's going to be with this shit right at the same time.
Right, it's it's sort of like, imagine if it's the 20s or the 1930s, early 30s, right when Prohibition ended. Yeah. And then you've got all these companies that I'm sure started to pop up selling booze quasi sort of legally, right? Although that was federal. I think they legalized it federally. Yeah. Instead of like state by state. So this is probably even worse than that. Yeah. But it was kind of like Wild West probably, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine what kind of like product you'd be getting if you just went down to the store or whatever and bought some booze. Like, exactly. Do you really know what went on when it was made? Like, probably not. Right. And it took probably a while to get, I'm sure it took years to get like a good system in place of like, okay, you can be sure that when you go to the store and buy some liquor that you're not getting like turpentine right, or Drano or whatever.
And that's the big thing why a lot of people pull for like recreational and medicinal anymore, is because you don't know what you're getting and like these certain things and everything. But I mean, if you're actually knowledgeable in the game and know a good bit about this stuff, you know that like certain companies that are like all in the up and up, it's not as much anymore, but like a few years ago and stuff, they would kick stuff out the back door too, and it would end up over here. It is what it is. You can make an easy $20,000 non-taxable by doing that and shit like that. Right. These companies aren't dumb. Of course they're doing that. How do you think a lot of the companies that started out in the West Coast ended up on the East Coast? They get shipped over here. That's what it is. What it is. That's the game. Like, that's just how it is. But there are counterfeits of those products too.
Yeah. It's all like really a byproduct of the slow legalizing process.
Yeah.
It's still like a hangover from it being illegal.
Right.
Because when you have something like this that people want, there's a demand for it, they're going to spend money to buy it.
Right.
Then someone's going to pop up and provide it. And if it's illegal, then that means the people who pop up to provide it are not bound by any type of like safety mechanism.
Right.
So and when it's half in, half out, then it even makes it, because it's actually probably more dangerous right now. And that's why you're seeing this in the news.
No,
it's because
is.
it's like there are a lot more people who are likely to go ahead and buy, vaping THC cartridges and start vaping and stuff. And there are traps set for them. Like,
yeah. And they're the biggest thing in the market right now because of the accessibility to those. Kids in high
cartridges.
school. Yeah, kids in high school now.
Right.
Can go in between their class, rip their fucking vape outside real quick, and no one even knows.
Right.
You couldn't do that 10 fucking years ago,
right.
dude. So a lot
pretty
of
hard to smoke weed in school.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
now it's just like a fucking thing of the past.
Yeah.
It's like, I would like, I like when I was first, like when I got like vape cartridges and stuff like a couple years ago, they were like actually company ones like that I knew people were getting and stuff. So it was like I knew what I was getting was like legit and everything. I had enough knowledge to know basically. But yeah, I would rip those in public, like in the mall and stuff, and no one fucking says anything to you. No one like knows. If you're really like naive to the subject, and especially people 3 years ago, they were very naive to the subject because that wasn't around.
Most people aren't going to have anywhere near the level of like research into it that someone like you. So you don't know.
Yeah.
Like you could go on the internet right now and buy. I'm sure you could go in and buy like THC vape cartridges.
Yeah.
And it looks legit, and it looks like on a surface level you could check it out and it looks okay, but really it's some kind of counterfeit bullshit with like
you can go on
harmful
eBay,
stuff in it.
You can go on eBay and you can buy all the packaging that you need to sell these. You can buy the packaging with the empty vape cartridges so you to fill it yourself.
You put
That's
anything
how
in there.
bad it is. And it's the same
Just
with
put
like
tap
weed.
water in there and sell it.
Yeah. And it's the same with weed anymore too, because like, dude, there's certain companies like the Cookies brand, White Runts, all this shit. You can buy empty, because they sell them in baggies half the time. Like you'll buy them in like a branded bag with like a zip or whatever. Like that's what it'll come in. Your ounce will come in this branded bag, so that's how it is.
Yeah.
They sell fucking empty bags on eBay too that you can buy in bulk.
Yeah.
It's just how the game is and shit, dude. And if you're wise to this shit, like
it sounds like it's still not that easy to tell. Like you really gotta.
No, yeah. That's the thing. Like if you, that's like why it is like it's why like, people call them custody, like you're getting custodied by people and shit. That's like the term and everything.
Custodied?
Yeah. If you sell this shit to a person that's so naive and doesn't really know this shit, and you're making an extra $100 off of them, fuck it, just do it. That's the big mentality anymore. It's just like rip these people off, and especially if they're like a Chad sort of person, like you know what I'm talking about, like a broy sort of motherfucker. Rob those people for as much as you fucking can, dude. Like that's the mentality of this shit anymore, man. It's so easy to make a quick buck on this shit on the black market. You just get some really good looking bud, buy these cookie bags or Jungle Boys bags with a certain strain on them. Here's an ounce of this, man. I paid $230, so I got to charge you $300 for it. It's just because, it's Jungle Boys. It's like the best bud you're gonna get around here.
Wow, yeah, because that's crazy. So again, that's like because the fact that those companies can be out there legally and have like name brand recognition, like that trust in a name brand, you can abuse it. It's more like half legal, half illegal.
Yeah,
that's like if that's like me selling you, cans of like I don't know, like Natty Ice, but it's like in like a Stella Artois bottle and charging, and like it's easy to do that.
It's very easy.
That's
man.
insane.
Yeah,
man.
that's the thing now.
You need to just legalize this shit federally. Like, come on, they'll put a stop to a lot of this because you could just. I'm
and
sure
then like
there'd be a way to.
you hear that in your mind, you're like, I would never pay like $300 for an ounce or something like that. But then it's in front of you, and you're like, and your weed dealer's a good salesman, and they're talking it up so much, you're just like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna grab that.
So
because,
what's
I've
$300? What do you expect to pay for an ounce then? If $300 is the premium.
Oh, I would never pay $300 for an ounce. That's just like a fucking that's a custody number. I would never even think of charging someone that like for an ounce or whatever.
Right. I'm just asking, what's it worth? Like, what's an ounce worth?
It depends, like around like
I bet you this whatever you say is going to be irrelevant in some of the places
like
that
for the
people are
normal
listening to
person,
this.
like $2 or $2.20.
Okay.
Maybe cheaper. Like if you're buying it in bulk, you're getting it way cheaper half the time. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you can charge a good bit more.
Yeah.
Based on that brand name.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But like, you know, it is what, like, you know, we've all like I said, like, I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. Like, you just got to know your shit and not get ripped off by people. Because if you're smoking nonstop and everything, guys, like, why not why not have some knowledge about this shit? Like,
yeah,
I'd say I get it. It's probably not like in your life a whole lot of the time, but I mean, it's a very big thing. If you're putting something inside of your body every single day or every single week, it's a good thing to know the ins and outs of this industry.
So can you, what advice would you give somebody to get them down that path? Like, is there any place you can send them to look and learn, you know, reputable information sources? Are you just talking
Instagram has a lot of like certain pages that drop knowledge like this. Hold on, let me find the one that I use a good lot.
Yeah,
a good bit. I mean,
yeah, shout it out if it's something that you use and you can give people some reputable.
It's
I mean, this is a good. Since we're talking about this, you might as well give people a chance,
right?
Like say people who do smoke weed.
The one Instagram that I follow and get a lot of information from anymore. It's called the Blacklist XYZ. They also have a website too, that like, but it's a lot of user submitted information from people who are in this game. So it's like, it's a mixture of like the stories about like the THC vape carts, like bad vape carts that are going around in certain areas. There's a lot about like grow ops getting busted in certain areas of California and stuff, because that's been happening a lot recently that a lot of people don't know about. Okay. Ever since they like legalized it, like really like federally over in not federally, like statewide in California, a lot of the shit that people were getting away with like the Prop 215, everything, it's done. And they've been raiding a lot of grow ops that have been in business for years and are just like chopping their plants down and leaving them for nothing, basically. And a lot of people say, like, you know, well, they should be doing it like right and legally and all this shit, like blah, blah, blah. Like people know what they're talking about, think they know what they're talking about, like with this stuff. But a lot of that stuff takes a lot of time. Like people have been waiting like 6 months to get their licenses approved. And
bureaucratic process.
Right, and you can't stop your money making for 6 months to wait on this. So you're going to have to do what you have to do until it gets legalized.
So you're running a business. You've been growing and selling weed for 20 years.
Right.
And you're supposed to just, what, now that it's legal, you're going to stop?
Right. Exactly. Like that was your main source.
And like, what do you even,
exactly.
What do you do?
And then they give
Put
a
the
lot
plants
of
in the freezer or something.
Yeah. And then they give, what's cool about this too, they give a lot of information. Say like people were going around pulling scams and robbing people for high amounts of money and stuff. They'll post like the users,
like a warning.
Yeah. The users who are getting robbed by these people will get in contact with them, give them all the information they can, along with like pictures and all this shit, their real names and everything. And they'll try to like warn people, like, don't do business with these people. Yeah. Like, because that happens a lot of the time too. People doing dumb shit to get weight.
Dave approved information source.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What's the name of it again?
The Blacklist XYZ.
All right.
Yeah. So, free plug.
Free plug. There you go. I mean, you're doing people a little a solid.
No, yeah, because it does piss me off that like people were getting away with a lot of this shit in the community, because I just want to see, like with me in the weed community, and it's why I give the black market like some, like I don't hate the black market like some people do and everything, because without the black market this stuff wouldn't have existed. Like nothing would have come of this stuff without the black market. It is what it is. But there, like a lot of people don't know, there's some shady stuff that goes in with the medicinal and the recreational side of it. You know, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about how bad the black market is, and that's to get recreational and medical like more into the limelight and stuff. But you know, there's companies now, and Pittsburgh is guilty of too, certain companies like, you know, shorting your fucking customers, which in Pennsylvania is ridiculous enough already because it's so highly priced right now because we're so new at this shit. And if you're buying an eighth for $60 and you go home and weigh it out and it's 3.15 or 3.2, I would be fucking outraged with that. Because for one, if you're buying an eighth for $50 or $60, you're already getting ripped off enough money. But having to go home and being like, yeah, I just got shorted a bowl pack, basically. It's not cool. Like people look at it and they're like, oh, it's 0.2 or point. No, it's not. That's not cool to do. It's not cool to rip your customers off because you think that you can. and stuff like that. That happens a lot. A lot of people faking lab test results. That happens a lot too that people don't want to talk about. Yeah.
What's that about?
So like when you have to get if you want to be in like rec or like anything like that, you have to get your certain part. Anything has to be lab tested basically to be approved and everything. But, you know, there are certain business deals like, you know, like, hey, we'll throw you an extra like $5,000-$10,000. We'll give you these lab results and then, you know, sell our product for us in your store or whatever. You know how it is, and we'll just never hear about this again. But then there's people who take that product and get them lab tested on their own, people who actually care about this stuff, and they'll come back with like pesticide fails and stuff like that. Pesticides fails are the biggest thing. Like, you know, and like it doesn't matter if it fails for 1 or 2 pesticides or anything. That's still a pesticide. Like, it's not supposed to be there. That's why they have the lab test. So if there's one pesticide in your bud, like it's not good. Like, but again, that is the black market. It's the same exact way because you don't know the buds that you're smoking. You're kind of just throwing faith up in the air and just hoping that there's no pesticides or anything. Course. Yeah, because
it's like buying anything. You know, illegally.
Right.
It's like
like we were just talking about the whole pressed pills issue anymore. Like that's been a big heavy thing. It's kind of like it's not as deadly as it and everything, but like over time it could be. Yeah. Because I mean, with that shit, like if you get fentanyl on something, it could just kill you like that.
Right. You think you're buying like an Opana or something, and it's really enough fentanyl to kill a horse pressed into a pill that looks like an Opana. Yeah. Because there's no quality control because it's just people don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I mean, like there are positives and negatives to everything in this world. You just got to educate yourself enough to know what it is. So, yeah. It's just being safe as possible. I don't know. Like I said, if you're going to ingest something in your body every single day or every week or whatever, like you might as well know some shit about it.
Be cautious. Like, look around.
Yeah.
You probably have more than one option at this point to where you can shop and buy things. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like back in the day, you knew one guy that was selling weed, so you just got to buy it.
Right. Exactly. No, it's
research.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Do your research.
Exactly.
As the flat earthers like to say. Dude, there was I saw a rumor. It turned out not to be true. Unfortunately, I thought it was kind of funny. But there was somebody started saying that Facebook was going to ban all flat Earth groups.
Yeah, I saw that.
But it's not true. They're not. They're all still up.
I was kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I know. You hate the flat Earthers.
I do.
I'm glad. I think that Facebook is a much funnier place with those flat Earth groups in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a while back. We did a whole thing. It was a whole ordeal.
It was a 2-episode thing.
Yeah, it was one of the only 2-parters we've ever done.
Yeah.
We got an interview with a flat earther from Australia, which is funny because some flat earthers
don't even believe Australia.
Don't acknowledge Australia. And then the next episode, we did like the fallout from that, and Dave blew a gasket.
It still makes me mad. Yeah. Like I don't like talking about it because it's just.
Like 6 months later, you're still angry about this?
I am, because it's stupid. They've been proven wrong so many times, but they still want to like jump on this thing like, oh yeah, we're totally right. No, you're not. I don't enjoy that. You've been proven wrong and you still act like smartasses the whole time. Like, it's just fucking dumb.
Yeah. You should chill out, smoke a dab.
I need to.
Or do a dab.
Yeah.
So wait, explain this to me.
Yeah.
Do you, like, when you're dabbing, doing a dab, are you incinerating this?
It's vapor.
Okay.
It's vaporized.
So it's not like, because I'm thinking like my drug knowledge is like, because I'm thinking like black tar heroin, like you're like putting it on foil.
No.
And like,
I mean, that's technically vapor.
It is, right. That's what I was thinking.
That's the healthiest way to do heroin. Darc Side tip.
I don't know about that.
Darc Side tip of the day.
Yeah, I know a lot about hard drugs. Yeah, I don't know much about weed because, like I said, I never liked it. So
yeah, I mean, like literally, it's like you heat up a quartz like bucket basically because no one uses titanium anymore. I feel like, and if you do, you're fucking up. But
okay,
yeah, quartz is like a special like type of glass that holds in heat like a lot more. Like if you hit it, so you use a blowtorch heat up your nail.
Yeah.
Don't do it like
nail
banger. Mostly if it's a quartz thing, it's a banger. Basically, that's what they're called most of the time.
Okay.
Banger, bucket. There's a bunch of different terms for it, but yeah, heat up that. You don't do it as soon as you take the flame off. You let it get down to like a decent temperature. A lot of people who are into it
sounds like smoking meth.
Not really. It's not really like that. It's been compared to that, but it's not really that. Funny enough, that's kind of a side story I'll have for you in a minute about that. But like, then you wait till it like cools down to a good temperature. A lot of people use like the heat guns.
Yeah.
Like and everything to like raise the temperature because it's good to go in about like 700 degrees, 650, somewhere around there. That's when you get because like it's not about just getting high, it's about getting good flavors and all the terps that are in that cannabinoid and everything.
And then there's your weed nerd side.
Exactly. So you do that. It's
like a coffee guy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But yeah, it's all vaporizing basically.
Got it.
You can put like some people like put like like when they roll joints, they'll put like hash in like joints and stuff too, or just like on top of a bowl or everything. Like you'll have a bowl pack and just put like a little piece of hash on top or in the middle of it, basically. So you can combust it too, but it's like yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
so what's the
meth thing? The one time I was at this was like years and years ago. I was at a party. And I had always brought like around that time, like I was really into like dabbing. Like everyone knew that's like what I did and everything. So I would always have my rig at parties and stuff. Like I'd always bring it because I have a Pelican case for it and shit like that. So I'd bring it out and everything. And this one, I don't even know who it was. It was like some like bro-y type of kid that was at this party. I didn't really know him that well. And I pulled like out my blowtorch and like started like heating up like my nail and everything. And the dude was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Is that meth?" And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, "No, you fucking retard. Like, it's fucking weed. It's just a different way of doing weed, basically, man." And he was just like blown away by that and everything. That's also around the time.
Honestly, if I saw you doing that, that's probably would be the first thing I thought of.
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
because that's what I know.
It was a newer thing like back then. A lot of people were ignorant to it and everything.
I mean, if I see a dude with a blowtorch heating up a glass like pipe thing, I mean, that's what it looks like.
I also used to fuck with people a lot back in that day and like give them like way too big of dabs that they should be taking.
Wow, that's a dick move.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I had fun with it though. Like it was funny. Like I was the dick then.
So it's like super concentrated THC, right?
Yeah.
I could see how you could get really twisted quickly.
Yeah, especially if you've been drinking a lot, like it hits you like really fucking hard.
I'm sure. Yeah, like I just did not enjoy weed, dude. It just flipped me out, and it probably says more about like I think it had more to do with my own like mental state. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it just like.
Well, no, that's the thing because like I was watching the whole like Bam Margera on Dr. Phil thing this morning, and he was talking.
We didn't even get into that.
No, yeah, that's a whole other story for another day. But like he was talking about how like he never liked weed, like he never liked weed, but like you know like Coke, Adderall, all this different shit, like an upper basically.
Right.
And like me and my girlfriend were watching it, and she was like. She doesn't really she just didn't understand like that statement and everything. And like, you know, I sometimes hear that too. And I don't understand it half the time. But like, then I remember it's like everyone's brains are synced differently.
Right.
It's a very psychoactive drug too, like for one. So it doesn't just help for like pain and everything. You're also like having a whole head thing going on too. So it's like, everyone's just wired differently. So it could affect people in a way different way that they don't like their brain focusing like that.
That's so true about people's brain chemistry being different. Cause like, dude, like I used to, like I was a heroin junkie, right, for a while. So, and I would hang out with other people like that.
Yeah.
And like, it's wild how differently people are. Because like I knew not just one, but more than one guy who, so like obviously like heroin's, you know, it's like a down. If you do a shitload of heroin, you're just nodded out. Like you're just basically
feeling on cloud nine.
You're in a puddle.
Yeah.
But like, if you're not at that point, like there are people who, I mean, it pretty much, a big dose will do that to anybody.
Yeah.
But like I knew more than one person who, when they would do like heroin or like, you know, similar drugs, painkillers and whatnot, it would like psych them up.
I know people like that too.
You know what I mean? Like you get like bouncy and like excited and like chatty. And then other people, it would have the opposite effect. They're just like
nodding off every like 2 minutes basically.
Even if they're not asleep, but just their behavior. And you know, and their energy level, and the same thing with like uppers and stimulants, right? Like, also had occasion to smoke crack with people.
Yeah.
Different types of people.
Yeah.
And some people obviously like it would react like you would expect.
Right.
You know, like they just talk your ear off and you know, high energy, stimulated.
Yeah.
But other people, instead of making them like, you know, up and bouncy and stimulated like that,
Yeah.
they'd be like more like just like even,
Yeah.
like regular, you know, it's like the opposite effect.
Well, that's why they give speed to kids with ADHD and shit like that.
Right, like Adderall. That's
Yeah.
literally what it's for. Like
Yeah.
people are wired that way.
Like we were
it's the
talking
same-
about that before. Like literally, there's one different chemical compound in Adderall that makes it different from crystal meth. Like a lot of people don't realize
but
that.
that's an important chemical compound because
Yeah.
Adderall and meth are not the same.
Yeah, a little bit weak. Adderall's a little bit weaker.
Slightly less.
You're not up
potent.
for 2 days off a little bit of
No.
Adderall.
No, but yeah, man. I mean, if myself, like I don't know what my chemistry is, but it seems to be like normal or
Yeah.
what you would expect that like these drugs to do. That's what they would pretty much do.
See, I think mine's the same way because I know people who've like said like when they take Vicodin and shit, they're more like energetic and
Yeah.
like gets a rush off of it. Every time I take Vicodin, it's fucking like I'm knocked out. Like
Oh,
if
really?
I take
See, it
more
would
than,
knock me out,
If I
but-
have more than 10 milligrams, I'm not. It won't like knock me out, but I'm just like. I have like the opiate feeling, you know, you
Yeah.
just kind of like feel
Right.
decent and everything. You
Right,
just kinda-
euphoria.
yeah, that's yeah. And
Now, sometimes I would get talkative because of that, but it's just because I got what I was looking for.
Right,
and I'm good now. you know?
exactly,
It wasn't.
yeah.
I wasn't literally like energized by it, like you know, the guys I was talking about.
yeah,
And as far as weed goes, like, yeah, I did it. I mean, I smoked on several occasions. I smoked a lot, like
Yeah.
a huge amount of weed, probably too much. And it like I said, I like paranoid,
Yeah.
anxiety, really weird, just like really
if you smoke too much, that's a big
just
thing.
hard
yeah.
to be around.
Yeah,
You know, and I never had any fun. And anytime I was drinking and I would smoke weed, I remember just passing out.
yeah, it's not a good combination because the spins are a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
The spins are terrible. That's the worst thing. I've done it to myself quite a few times.
So like you're drinking and then you smoke weed and you get the spins because of
Yeah.
that. You think it's specifically because that combo?
no, it is because of that combo.
Don't people smoke weed to counteract like motion sickness and nausea?
Yeah, nausea sometimes because I've done it with nausea before. Yeah, but it's completely different. Like because when you have the spins, it's not like you're like sick for no reason. Like your vision is literally spinning.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible, especially like when you're watching TV or something.
Yeah.
Because I did this like a couple months ago. I was pretty drunk already, and like we had just rolled a joint or a blunt. I forget what it was, and I said fuck it, and Nicole was just even like, yeah, I don't think like you should like go like that heavy. Like a few is probably good, and I was like, nah, I'll be good. And I was laying on the couch, like literally, like I wasn't fully spinning, but like the fucking projector screen kept on going like to the right a little bit, and I'm just like, oh fuck, like I'm
She
just
was
like,
right.
yeah, I'm just laying there. I'm like, oh, this is bad. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And then you just wake up the next morning, kind of like sick, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Then you smoke to make that sickness go away. It's literally it's the circle of life.
Do
Do a damn da da da.
it, dab.
That was always my number one hangover cure.
Just do a dab.
Swear, like literally take a
I could see
huge
it.
ass dab like right in the morning. The one that's like killing you, like hard to breathe for a couple seconds and shit, like knocks your ass back basically. After like the first 5 minutes after doing that, you feel fine. Like nausea is gone. Like you just got to drink some water really quick and you're set.
Yeah.
That's my hangover cure half the
Interesting.
time.
Could you see them using like dabs in a medical capacity, or you think that's straight up just to get wasted?
What do you mean?
I mean, would they use, you know, dabs to treat whatever they use medical marijuana to treat?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because it's like a quicker high, So it's good for like certain things. If you need it like really like quicker and stuff like that, it's good for that.
Like pain management.
Yeah, because consider like dabs and everything like that. Like everything like lumped into that is basically lumped into extracts column and shit like that.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so like Rick Simpson oil is technically like an extract and stuff, and they use that for
Never heard of
to
it.
treat like cancer and
like the pain
for
from
seizures
cancer
and shit like that. Yeah, no, like people have like. The dude Rick Simpson had like the reason they call it Rick Simpson oil. He found out a way to make this like concoction basically because he had like skin cancer or whatever.
Okay.
And nothing that he was doing was working. And basically, so he would make this oil and he would rub it on the spot where the skin cancer was. And eventually it actually cured his skin cancer. Like it's a very, like as far as like medical stuff goes, Rick Simpson oil is like top tier basically with that shit. Because it's actually cured skin cancer.
topically rubbed it on the skin.
Yeah. And if you ingest it, it's like,
never heard of that.
Yeah, if you ingest it, it's good for like kids who have like, you know, you see the stories about kids that have like 30 seizures a day or something, had never had a cure, but they have like, they get this like magical like shit. Most of the time it's Rick Simpson oil because it's just so potent and made in a certain way, but it's not really psychoactive at the same time to where it's fucking these kids up. They only need like a little bit to really like make their system like good.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are the most heartbreaking stories of like the kids with like uncontrollable seizures, like have 300 some seizures a month and there's just like nothing.
Holy shit.
Like there's like, dude, there's been family, you can look it up online. There's been families that have like up and rooted their whole life and moved to a legal state because it's the only thing that saved their kid basically. Like that was the last resort and it's like, and it's worked and everything like ever since. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's definitely, it helps a lot. It's not just for getting fucked up and stuff. There's actually a good use behind it. Do I use it medically? Yes. Do I use it to get fucked up? Yes. It's like, it's just one of those things. Like it's.
How is it for pain killing?
It's good, especially edibles. Edibles are really good for that. Like a high milligram dosage, but you just have to, if you want to use edibles, you just got to be prepared. Like, it's way different than smoking marijuana, like way different.
How so?
It's like you don't need a whole lot if you have a low tolerance and shit. Basically, like me, if I would,
can you get more mileage out of the same amount of THC if it's in an edible?
Yeah, you'll get way more mileage out of it. Basically, like you can ingest if you have a low tolerance and ingest 50 milligrams.
I'm always still thinking that way.
Yeah, if you
get the most fucked up for the least amount of money.
Well, no, that's the thing though, because I mean, if you ingest 50 milligrams worth of like an edible or whatever, you just think like 50 milligrams is like literally point. What's the milligram say? It's like 0.05, I think, for 50. Or wait, no, that might be for 5. I forget. No, it's no. 0.05 would be 50. So yeah.
So a lot more.
Yeah, because it's being processed through your liver and it's producing like a whole like new thing inside your body and it's going into your bloodstream and stuff. Like it's making it last way longer because your liver just keeps producing that said chemical once it's digested into it, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. Like I've you can couch lock yourself for a couple days. That's for sure. Lock. Yeah, where you just don't want to move it or anything for like over a day.
Yeah, that's one of those words that you don't have to know what it means to know what it means.
See, that's why I don't do edibles that much anymore because I don't have the time to do edibles anymore. Because I just know if I'm eating edibles, like I have to have a whole day set aside to where I don't have to do anything, basically.
Because you're stuck on the couch.
Yeah, it's like literally like one of those. Yeah, and then the next day you're just still kind of groggy whenever you wake up because it's still like in your system affecting you. And especially if you do higher dosages and shit, you're just like, fuck. Just want to feel better.
Jeez, I feel like that every day.
Yeah.
Like the second day, not the good day.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, but and what about munchies? You get the munchies still?
Oh yeah.
What do you do? So what do you do for munchies? So we can wrap it up on that. What's the best Darc Side Dave munchie combo? Do you have like a go-to, like a certain kind of ice cream or like a weird combo? I want to hear you. I'm talking like, do you put like peanut butter on a fudge sickle?
Nah, I don't really. I don't really go all out with stuff like that anymore.
Okay, you're looking for convenience.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Anymore, it's just like whatever's in the fucking house. Like I'll eat. Like in all honesty.
So you don't go like specifically when you're grocery shopping or whatever. I don't know if you do the shopping.
Oh,
in the
dude,
house,
no. I can't. I can't go grocery shopping high anymore. It's fucking awful.
Well, you
like,
used
I don't,
to? I think it's pretty obvious why it's a bad idea.
For one, I don't grocery shop. Like I do like online pickup for everything because it's way more convenient and everything. But two, when you go grocery shopping high,
you just buy everything.
You buy 3 times the amount of shit that you normally would. And it's shit that you don't even need. Like literally, like I've gone to the store for one specific thing, bought 20 other fucking things, and still left without getting that one thing. It's like one of those things that just fucks with you. But like, yeah, Munchies anymore, it's just like whatever's in the house or Uber Eats, like ordering shit like that. And if I'm going to a bomb ass restaurant or something before, I'm smoking a shit ton of weed before I go. Simply to like, because I'm
extra hungry.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like starving. It's like I'm gonna order so much shit when I go.
You know what we ought to do? Go to one of those Brazilian steakhouses. Have you
Texas
been to one?
Day Brazil?
Yeah. The other one, I forget the name. Fogo de Chao.
Yeah, I've heard Texas.
Have you been there?
I've heard Texas is better than the Fogo one.
I've been to both. I like Texas Day Brazil better. But have you been there?
Yeah, a couple. I was just there a few weeks ago. Actually, we took my cousin out to dinner down there.
So like, you sit at a table and these guys just keep bringing you meat and they just cut off as much as you want.
Yeah.
Like until you just say stop. And you have this little like go or stop sign and you just put it on green and they just keep bringing it. And so did you tear it up?
Oh yeah. Every time I go there, I'll tear it up basically.
Yeah. I've made myself sick there. Because it's hard to turn it down. It's like, this is like legit good. It's not just like crappy meat either.
No.
Like steak and filet. And
even their
whatever.
salad bar is good as fuck, dude.
They got a lot of good stuff.
So much good shit over there.
Advertising for this restaurant. But my point is, if you were going to smoke a lot of weed and go eat a place like that, go in there and
heavily.
You want to get your money's worth for the all you can eat.
Yeah.
Just tear it up.
Because it's like $55 a person there, I'm pretty sure.
You got to eat a lot of steak to make it worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But even like when we go to like Vegas or like out like in places like this too, like when we want to go to like a bomb ass restaurant and stuff, it's literally like do a couple of dabs and smoke a joint like right before going. Like to where like.
So you're like starving when you get in there.
Yeah. Basically, and then like downing a couple of drinks like when you first get there, so you're kind of like loose and have a good vibe going at the same time. Like, destroy every fucking thing.
Okay, one
then
more
you
question.
get the bill for $300, and it's just like, oh god,
and you're not happy about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, it's like, fuck it, I don't care. Like,
so, drinking and then smoking weed versus smoking weed and then having drinks, is that a different thing?
A little bit, yeah, because like the first. I don't know how to really describe this because most of the time, like when people are going out, they're going to a bar most of the time to get drinks and shit, right? Like, I mean, most of the time I just stay home, so I'm like continuously drinking and smoking at the same time. But when I go out, this is how it is. Like, I'll smoke literally right before going out. Like, you know, the side effects are still going on you, but then the drunk kind of takes over the high after a while. Like, you feel more drunk than you do high after a minute, but then once you reintroduce the THC in your system, if you're way too fucked up, you know right away, like, it's gonna be bad. Like, because it just fucks with your vision half the time, basically.
You get
so it's kind of like knowing.
Is that just a Dave thing, or is this a known?
No, it's a known thing.
Okay,
yeah, it's the worst thing that could happen to you.
Now I used to. Now when I would drink, it was like once I would start drinking, it's just there's no stopping.
Game over. Yeah.
Game over. But I would get the spins a lot just from drinking. Like, I would just drink myself into a point where I'm horizontal. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can't walk straight enough to like really even do anything. Yeah. But I'd have the spins. Mm-hmm. Now that happened to me quite a bit.
That happens when you get like way too fucked up, like drunk wise.
Yeah. But so you're saying if you're not super drunk and you smoke some weed, you can still get the spins?
If you're like just buzzed, you'll be fine. But if you're like pretty like decently like drunk, say like probably like 8 beers in or so, something might happen to you. And it depends on the tolerance, I guess, with every person too.
8 beers. I love how that's like a measuring stick. Like, because 8 beers is for you is completely different from 8 beers for someone else.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like, I don't even drink beer half the time anymore, so I don't really know how to like fucking. It's like all liquor for me, liquor or White Claw for me most of the time. So it's like, I don't know the balance for like other people.
So just so people know, you are not like a fucking alcoholic degenerate. It's not like you're drinking and smoking all day, every day.
No, not every day.
I don't want to make you look like that because this whole episode's been about Dave getting fucked up.
I don't care if I look like that. I know I don't have a problem.
That's not the case,
so
though. It's not like, you just...
I don't care what other people think. That's my whole thing. I really don't care what other people think about me.
I
know I'm grounded with my life, and I don't really have a problem with anything.
Right.
So, yeah, it is what it is. But
Right.
no, I'm
That's
not
the
like constantly getting
I'm
fucked
just
up.
drawing a line because, like, I don't drink alcohol or do any drugs.
Right. You're completely sober.
Because I can't.
Right.
If I could, I would. But
Right.
I can't, right? My life becomes miserable.
Right.
So I don't do it.
Exactly.
Now, that, like, you might drink a lot and smoke a lot, like, based, from somebody's standards.
Right.
Like, a lot of days a week, you're having drinks and smoking weed.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a difference between what it looks like when you drink and smoke a lot in a week and someone like me. Like, it's
Right,
not, like,
nah.
you are, and I'm not just saying, like, yeah, you show up for work and stuff like that. There are plenty of people who are drug addicts and alcoholics that show up for work.
Oh,
that doesn't
100%,
mean, just because you go to work doesn't mean you're good.
Exactly.
But, like,
Functioning.
no, I could not do that. Like, when I'm drinking, like, there's no going to work.
Right.
For any extended period of time.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't go to work
I can't-
fucked up like that. No.
But, like, once I introduce that into my life, like, it just takes over. Like,
Yeah.
everything else takes a back seat. But, like, it's not even that. Like, to me, when I look at you, like, you're not, I mean, I don't know, maybe you are, but to me, it appears like you're just, like, you're well adjusted.
Yeah.
You're not using drugs and alcohol, like, to fix yourself or to, to, like, fill yourself up for contentment or anything.
No.
Like, you could take it or leave it, really. Like,
Right,
if you go
yeah.
a day and you're not drinking or smoking weed or whatever, like, you can just take it or leave it.
Yeah.
It's not like...
I mean, yeah, I don't drink every day. I'll drink maybe like out of the week 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah. And you can have a good time without drinking.
Right. I
just
know
as
my limits
or
and shit. It's
smoking weed.
like, yeah. But most of the time I'm also
And that's
like
like different. And you know
chilling
when
at home doing
you
it.
say you know your limits, you know when to cut it off, and you can, right? Whereas the difference, someone like me, like I said, once I start drinking, I just can't stop. Like,
yeah, I mean, there are some nights where like I do push it a little bit and like go a little bit harder than other nights and stuff. But I mean, like,
right.
you'll have that. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, they don't call it liquid courage for nothing. But I mean,
courage.
like, it's like, but yeah, it's not like
it still amazes me how just absurd it is that we know the history and the reasons for it, but like a drug like alcohol being totally legal and something like weed being illegal. Because let me tell you something, like, I never got in any trouble being high on weed.
Yeah.
Now, being super fucked up on liquor and or whatever alcohol,
Yeah.
completely different story.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
You're not going to go out and get into a jackpot or get yourself into any trouble.
Right.
I mean, you could not that you can get in trouble.
Yeah.
But just the behavior, like the way it changes your behavior.
No, it does. It's
is
completely
night and day.
Like, literally, like, you talk to certain people like that do drink a good bit, and they're just like, you offer them, like, say you offer someone like a glass of whiskey and something like that, and they're just like, they will not drink whiskey because it turns them into a completely different person. And like, I've seen cases like that of people, like, especially with whiskey, because that makes people fucking angry for some reason. That's like an angry drunk half the time. Like, when you like, well, not like all the time, but
I used to drink a lot of whiskey.
Really?
I never noticed that. I think that might be just like people's superstitions or whatever, like different.
Well, no,
I mean,
I've seen
they could
people
have,
go like start to go like nuts there after drinking
Sure, you
whiskey
could
compared
see
to
it,
like
but-
vodka or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if I get super fucking wasted on whiskey versus me being super drunk on vodka, the results are going to be.
I mean, they're still going to be bad,
equally
like, no
bad
matter
for
what.
everyone,
Yeah,
either
but it
way.
could be a different mood. Like, sir, because like I said, I'm just talking like
I think
people
it
have
probably
gotten,
has
like,
to do with the mood that you're in anyway. Because like alcohol,
yeah, if you're drinking like whiskey at like a decent amount, you're probably not like the happiest of a camper right at that time.
I mean, that was my choice if I was getting super drunk, or if I had a choice about what to drink.
That's my bar
liked,
choice.
I liked whiskey, but I would also drink literally anything, or smoke, or inject, or shoot, or snort, or anything, literally in the world that would fuck me up if I needed to. I had absolutely no scruples about it.
Yeah, I've never
Complete trash can.
Yeah, see, I don't really have that problem,
Right?
Because I have been offered shit that I shouldn't be offered, and I turn it down. Like,
I was drawn to,
like,
I was, when I was a kid and stuff, like, I was afraid because like you hear all this stuff that like drugs are dangerous, but I was also drawn to it.
Right. It makes, like, because I mean, you're curious, like, like a lot of people don't like tell like their kids straight up what drugs are. You know, you're just told to believe that there are these terrible things. But
yeah,
you
we
don't
came
really
up in that
go,
like the hangover of like the 80s, like the Just Say No thing,
Yeah.
and Nancy Reagan and all that. So it's like
Yeah.
the only thing we knew about drugs was that like, first of all, you're not supposed to do them, and you're not
Right.
allowed to know anything about them.
Right.
And number two, they're awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's
And,
the thing.
and the other
like-
thing is that they tried to make it out like demonize it. Like if you do drugs, you're going to turn into a fucking like homicidal maniac, insane person.
Yeah.
And like you can see that that's not true as soon as you
Right.
go out and get any experience. And then that right there just blows away everything you were ever told.
Right.
Like how much like they said stay away from drugs, but yet everything else they said I can plainly see that it's not true. So why would I listen to any of that?
Exactly. And I mean, like, just like the whole thing, you know, a lot of those campaigns were complete bullshit and just looking
It
like,
was- yeah.
like, you know, you have Corey Feldman was a spokesperson for the Just Say No campaign. And he's even admitted, he was like, yeah, I would go to like the rally or whatever.
Wasted.
Go up on stage and talking about how just say no and like tell these kids to stay off drugs. And I would go back to my limo and snort 2 lines of Coke like immediately. And it's just like, you know, that's how it is. And it's like, we weren't true. Like, and it's still like this too. Like a lot, and especially with the opiate crisis going on right now, a lot of these kids aren't on the up and up about what these drugs are and the negative and what could happen with these drugs. Like you don't just tell a kid like don't do drugs because they're bad. That's not going to think that makes you want to. That makes them interested way even more. Like it's this like thing that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Right.
No, sit down and tell these kids. You know how OxyContin is a big factor of what the opiate epidemic is now. Tell them what these drugs do to you and how it could affect you in the long term. Yeah, tell them that it feels fucking amazing because
don't lie to them because you destroy your credibility.
Yeah.
They're gonna know they're gonna take them 5 seconds to figure out that like people don't go and do drugs and spend millions of dollars on them because they aren't awesome.
Right.
Like they make
they're
you feel
fucking
good.
amazing.
Right.
Like they're some of the best feeling things you could do.
Right.
But you also got to take in like
I don't want to give. I have no idea what people should tell their kids or whatever. Parenting advice. This is not the place for that.
I'm not
But,
either,
like-
but it's at the same time you got to do something differently, man. 'cause
Right. I
it's
know.
not
But
working.
what I think what you're saying is right. Like. It just seems to me like just being honest about it.
Yeah.
You know, just in general, not just for people
Literally.
with kids or whatever, but like it's just like don't lie about it.
Right.
You know?
That's-
All we know is so far we like how not to handle it.
Right.
And that ain't it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
literally just keep experimenting with like different generations and stuff, and none of them have worked so far. So
Yeah.
maybe straight up honesty
Yeah.
is the key.
I mean, we're getting there. Like it's the way things have been. You know, they were illegal. The parents
Yeah.
didn't know shit about drugs. So
Well, see, like now, dude, they I mean, like the big thing right now is fentanyl. Like that's the biggest thing right now. Like everyone's cursing the name fentanyl and everything. Everyone looks at it as this terrible thing, but they're also using it as in like the medicinal side, where they're giving it to people to like sedate them and stuff. They're using it as a form of minor sedation and shit
fentanyl,
like that.
yeah, it can sedate people. It also it's just like a super potent painkiller. Like they use
Right.
that for people with like the most extreme
Right.
pain. I mean, I think I read that fentanyl is like apples to apples compared to morphine. It's like 1,000 times the potency, like drop for drop.
Yeah.
Which makes
But
it
there's
dangerous.
also like different levels. Like there's also different kinds of fentanyl too. Like aren't there like different, like a few different kinds? Like not just fentanyl. There's like I know
car
one that-
fentanyl.
Yeah, like something like
car
that.
fentanyl is kind of useless. Like because of how potent. It's like that's that stuff that the biggest news story I can think of that, or at least that sticks out in my mind about car fentanyl is like this bust where the government seized a bunch of car fentanyl like coming in from China. I think it was into Canada.
Yeah.
And like someone OD'd on it by touching the packaging.
Yeah.
Because it's like so crazy. Like that's the thing. Like people don't, drugs that are that potent aren't all that useful for recreational use because you can't get like you don't want to be in a coma. You're not high if you're in a fucking coma, and you don't want to be dead. So it's like you got to be able to. You got to
find that in between.
And that's why weak sedatives get abused, right? So like Thorazine, okay, that's a sedative.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Thorazine?
Yeah,
it's like what they use to. If you've seen the movies, like in a like a loony bin or whatever, where they just hit somebody with that like night shot. Something like Thorazine would be that. Like it's like a heavy sedative and just like puts you in a coma.
Yeah,
not really useful for getting high because there's no way to. You want like a low dose of it so that you're partially sedated and you feel fucked up. You don't want to actually be just in the oblivion.
Right. You still want to have a good time on it.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's half the battle.
So something like car fentanyl, I don't think they really use that too. I mean, I don't know. It's possible. I mean, you could, but in order to
There's always that asshole.
There's always that one asshole. Yeah. But and I've heard of, I think with just regular fentanyl too, like they do a bust and there's like, they're in contact with huge quantities of fentanyl and like, it's so potent that like touching it absorbing into your skin. If you touch enough of it, it can like OD you. Yeah. Just from touching it. So, or breathing it in. That's another thing. Yeah. There's like, it'll be like dust in the air from these pills, and then the packaging gets opened up and they breathe it in. You have guys like literally just going out and fucking ODing just from breathing in.
You think like these DEA agents, like whenever they're making like a big bust like this, when everyone's like not around, they have the mask on and everything, they just take it off real quick and just go, and just like put it back down. Like, oh yeah.
I can't say that I wouldn't have tried that.
I mean,
if I was in that position.
Yeah.
But
no, honestly.
You're probably not going to be doing too good if it's like powdered fentanyl from some, like black market source.
Like they're just doing the rounds like right after you did that. They're like, you find anything in there? You're like, nah, it's all good in here. I'm gonna stay in here just to monitor it a little bit more.
Don't come in, it's not safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some tape around this door. Do not come in. This is my space.
My space.
I will do the investigation of this room. Thank you.
I got it. But that's the state of weed, with a little bit of opioid epidemic and fun personal stories. Biography of Darc Side Dave. Yeah. The weed enthusiast. Yeah. Novel hitting shelves near you soon.
Hi, Mom.
But, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Darc Side Podcast.
As always, I'm Dave Viana.
I'm Matt Elias.
Follow us on anything Darc Side Podcast related.
Don't forget to do that.
Later.
Late.